Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn English with Erica. Today we're going to learn about 10 different letter combinations in English that make English hard to pronounce for new language learners. The first letter combination is TH. So in English, TH can be voiced or unvoiced. It's like a little vibration for voiced, or for unvoiced. Why it's difficult is because it doesn't exist in a lot of different languages like Spanish, French, Japanese, Chinese. So it's difficult for these language learners to pronounce that sound. So let's try a couple words. So let's try when you say thank you, that's voiceless, or think, voiceless. Or you can say this, like this one, or mother, those are both voiced. So for TH, you're sticking your tongue out, okay? And you're either putting voice behind it, okay? You'll hear your throat vibrate, or you're not. Same tongue position, but for the unvoiced, you will not feel your throat vibrate. So let's try thanks. You shouldn't feel it vibrate, but this, you should hear it vibrate. Try it on your own. What a lot of new language learners will sound like, instead of this, it'll sound like this, like with a D, or this, like with a Z. That's not correct. It's you're sticking your tongue out. Okay, so that's the first letter that's difficult. The second letter combination group are R and L. So if you speak Japanese, Korean, Chinese, you probably merge the R and L sound. That means that they are pretty much one and the same, okay? So the R sound in English is going to be like r, okay? The L sound in English is okay? So to hear the difference, there's rice with an R, rice, or lice with an L, okay? So a lot of times, if you are a Korean or Japanese or Chinese speaker, your R's will come out like L's, okay? But in English, they're very different. Right and light, right and light. Remember, your tongue is going to come out with the L, okay? Go ahead and try that one. Right, light, rice, lice. Okay, the next letter combinations are V and B. So V and B are difficult for Spanish speakers, Arabic speakers, and so forth, because V and B are pretty much the same in those languages. So when you come to the United States or an American, like an English-speaking country, V and B are separate sounds, so that's new. So if you are a Spanish speaker or an Arabic speaker, you're going to have to practice the difference between the B and the V. So B is b, right? So you're putting your lips together, b, right? And you're pushing air out. The V is v. So see, my bottom lip is going underneath my teeth, v, okay? So for example, berry versus very, very, okay? B and V. Here's another one. Vote, and boat. Vote, boat. Go ahead and try those. B and V. Remember, B, b, V, v. Okay? Go ahead and practice those. Okay, the next letter combination that's really difficult is the S. The S. Now, the sound itself isn't difficult. Okay, what's difficult is that a lot of languages don't allow for two consonants at the beginning of a word to go together, right? So S plus T in stop, we have stop, okay? If you are a Spanish speaker especially, it might sound like estop, right? So Spanish speakers automatically put an E in front of it. So another example might be street. Street becomes street, street, right? So especially for Spanish speakers, practice starting a word with s, with the S sound, okay? So try stop, school, street, spring, okay? Try to not put the E in front of it and just start with the S sound. Another letter combination that's difficult is the ED ending in English. So the ED ending looks like it should say ed, okay, ed. So for example, if you like something and you like it in the past, like becomes liked. A lot of new English language learners will say like it, like it. Okay, so what you're doing is you're just switching out that ED for really like just a D or a T sound, okay? So liked, liked really sounds more like a T at the end, and the E, you don't really hear it. Try another one. Played, 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 played. Wanted, wanted, wanted. So at the end, it's more like a D or a T, a very soft sound at the end. It does not sound like ed, so it's not liked, played. So you might hear wanted, and it's not incorrect, but if you say it in a sentence, you're going to say it fast, and it's going to sound more like I wanted, I wanted, I wanted to go to the mall, instead of I wanted to go to the mall, okay? So that ED is not fully pronounced. It's more like a soft T or D, depending on the word, okay? The next combination that's difficult for new English language learners is not so much a pronunciation, but a spelling. We have a lot of words in English that contain silent letters, silent letters. So for example, KN at the beginning of a word, like no or ni, okay? You're not even pronouncing the K, right? It's just the N sound, but when you write it, you need to write the K. Another one is B, B, as in doubt, doubt, or thumb, thumb. You're not saying the B, okay, but it's there when you spell it. Another one is GH, GH. This throws off a lot of new English language learners because it's not pronounced. Okay, so examples of this would be though, even though I like it, I didn't go, though, and night, night. Okay, so those are some words that sound like the letters aren't even there, but when you write them, you have to put them. So that's tricky for some English language learners. The next group is OU and OW vowel combinations. And they're difficult because they are pronounced differently in different words. So, for example, OU in out and ought sound completely different. So, out and ought both have OU. But when you say out, it has more of an ow, ow. But when you say ought, like you ought to do something, it's more like ah, ah. Okay, so that's really confusing for some language learners. Another one of those is the OW, OW, like now, now, versus slow, slow. They both have OW, now, slow, but one is ow, ow, and one is o, o. The next group of letter combinations are CH, SH, and TS, okay? So let's start with CH. CH is ch, 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 and you'll hear this in words like chair, chair, or cheap, cheap. And a lot of English language learners can't hear the difference between that and the SH, which is shh, shh. So that would be like sheep, share, sheep, share. And the TS comes at the end of words to make it plural. Could be a verb, like for example, he chats with her, he chats with her. That ending is a TS, and that's really hard to figure out what the English speaker is doing inside their mouth, but it's t, t, t. My tongue is on the roof of my mouth, and the S is just the S sound, and it's putting them together. Chats, chats, chats. So that switch from the T to the S, it's a quick change in English, and that takes a lot of practice for a lot of new English language learners. So again, the biggest difference is between the ch and the sh, because there's a lot of different words in English that begin with that vowel or that letter combination, and they're completely different words if you mistake those two beginnings. So for example, sheep is the animal that goes ba, right? But cheap is when something is not expensive, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Two completely different words, so the sounds really matter. So make sure you practice those CH and SH sounds. And another one to practice maybe might be like ship, like the boat, the big boat, or chip, like the chip that you eat. Okay, go ahead and practice that. The next letter combination is W and WH, because the W doesn't always exist in all languages. So the W at the beginning of the sound is going to be like was, were, okay? But there's also WH, which sounds like that as well. Why, what, well, okay? So if this is hard for you, practice those sounds. And when you see them, remember that if it's W, it sounds like W. And if it's WH, it also sounds like W. This last group are vowel pairs. So we'll start with the EA vowel pair, EA. So now E by itself can sound like E or E. A by itself sounds like A or A. But when you put them together, okay, it can sound like either one. For example, the word eat, E-A-T, but it sounds like E. But head, H-E-A-D, but it sounds like eh. Eat, head. Confusing, right? That's why English is so difficult. Okay, the next vowel pair is O-U, O-U. So OU is tricky because sometimes it's pronounced just like it looks, like in out, O-U-T, out. But sometimes it's in the middle of a word and it sounds different. For example, tough, if you're tough, that's T-O-U-G-H, tough. There's an F sound in there and it doesn't even have any F's in it. That's what makes it difficult. Also the word though. Even though I wanted to go, I could not. Though. That has an OU in the middle, but it's kind of like an O sound. And that GH at the end, completely silent. The last vowel pair would be an IE, IE. And an I by itself could be I or I or I. Or it might just sound like, or the E sound is E or E. Okay, so with this vowel combination, IE, it could be that it sounds like field, eel, field, F-I-E-L-D. Or in some other words, it just sounds like the I. For example, pie that you eat, pie, P-I-E. That E is like it's not even there. So those are some vowel pairs that are tricky in English. So as you can see, it depends on what language you speak originally, how difficult these sounds are for you, but these are 10 difficult letter combinations that if you keep practicing, it will help you sound more like a native speaker. So go ahead and comment and let me know what sounds are hard for you in English and what tricks do you use to try to pronounce them. Or if you want to ask more questions about how to make certain letter sounds, put it in the comments and I'll do my best to either do a video or answer your question. Thanks for watching and have a great day.